Good morning, dear students. So, in the last class, we have discussed the term thermal expansion and the types of thermal expansion. Hope you got an idea about that. Now, today we are moving to a new topic, that is heat capacity. Okay. So, suppose I am considering a substance in a beaker and I am supplying heat to it. So as you know, heat is a form of energy and this amount of heat is able to rise the temperature of this particular substance. Right. So we are supplying a particular amount of heat to the substance in order to rise the temperature. Okay. So the quantity of heat given to a substance depends on its mass m. Then the change in temperature delta T. That means starting it has a temperature. When you are supplying an amount of heat, its temperature increases. So there is a change in temperature, that is delta T. And the nature of the substance, that means depending upon the material. Understood? So the quantity of heat given to any substance depends on mass m of the substance, then the temperature delta T and the nature of the substance which is being warmed. Clear? To change the temperature of a substance, a given quantity of heat is absorbed or rejected by it. You know that. So suppose if a substance which is heated, already heated, and it is placed in a particular space, after some time its temperature decreases. So there is a decrease in temperature. That means heat is rejected out of it. Sometimes we want to heat the substance, it absorbs the heat. Okay, so temperature rises. So there will be two conditions where heat is absorbed or heat is rejected by it. And this particular thing, that is the heat absorption or heat rejection, is characterized by a quantity known as heat capacity. Understood? So how can you define this heat capacity? Heat capacity is defined as the amount of heat needed to change the temperature by unity. Understood? The amount of heat needed to change the temperature by unity. That means when I supply a particular amount of heat to the substance, the temperature rises. When the temperature rises by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, you can say that that amount of heat needed to change the temperature is known as heat capacity. So this heat capacity is represented by the letter S. Okay, heat capacity is represented by the letter S and you can define it as the amount of heat needed to change the temperature. So two quantities must be there. First one is heat, second is temperature. So heat can be represented as Q and temperature can be represented as T. Okay, so we are changing the temperature, that means delta T, change in temperature. It's a small amount given in order to change the temperature, so you can write delta Q. So delta Q by delta T. Now what is the unit of heat capacity? The unit of heat is Joule and unit of temperature is Kelvin. Right. So you can write Joule per Kelvin or Joule Kelvin raised to minus 1. Understood? So Joule Kelvin raised to minus 1 is the unit of heat capacity. So once again, the amount of heat needed to change the temperature by unity. It can be 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay. So this particular quantity is known as heat capacity and is represented by the letter S. Mathematically, you can write S equal to delta Q by delta T, where delta Q is the heat rejected or absorbed by the body. Heat rejected or absorbed by the body. Now, delta T means change in temperature. Clear? Now, the dimensional formula also you can write S, because heat is a form of energy. So, you can write the dimension of energy here. How? What is the dimension of energy? It is mL squared T raised to minus 2. Okay. Divided by temperature has a dimension K. So, the dimension of heat capacity is mL squared T raised to minus 2 K raised to minus 1. mL squared T raised to minus 2 K raised to minus 1. Clear? Okay. Now we will move to specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity. So this is, we are specifying the amount also. That means heat capacity means the amount of heat given in order to change the temperature. But specific heat capacity means the amount of heat needed, to raise the temperature of how much? Unit mass. Understood? Unit mass. For example, if I want to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of a substance. Understood? By unity. Unit mass of a substance by unity. Clear? The amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of unit mass of a substance by unity. Okay. So it can also be denoted by small s. So here small s means what? The amount of heat needed to raise the temperature is actually the specific heat capacity. So this specific heat capacity needed to raise the temperature of unit mass. So S divided by M. Right. So what is S here? S is delta Q by delta T. Also M is there. Delta Q by M into delta T. Clear for you? So specific heat capacity is equal to, that is small s is equal to delta Q divided by M into delta T, where M is the mass of the given substance. Here how can you write the unit? For delta Q it is joule, then for mass it is kilogram, and delta T it is temperature, Kelvin. Okay, so the unit is joule, kilogram raised to minus 1, Kelvin raised to minus 1. Joule, kilogram raised to minus 1, Kelvin raised to minus 1. This is the unit, SI unit of specific heat capacity. Hope it is clear. Okay, now we will move to molar specific heat capacity. Molar specific heat capacity. So what is molar specific heat capacity? From the word itself, you will get the idea. That is again the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of listen, 1 mole of 1 mole of a substance. Let it be gas. Okay. 1 mole of a substance by unity. It is known as the molar specific heat capacity and it is denoted as C. Clear? Molar specific heat capacity is denoted by the letter C. So what is a specialty? The amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a substance by unity. It is known as molar specific heat capacity. So here also, if we want to write the expression, C is equal to, actually it is the specific heat divided by 1 mole. It can be represented as mu, specific heat divided by 1 mole. Okay. So this is the, here mu represents the number of moles of the substance. That is, S is delta Q divided by delta T and mu is there. Clear? So C is equal to delta Q by mu into delta T. C equals delta Q by mu into delta T, where delta Q is the heat absorbed or rejected by the body, then mu is the number of moles of the substance and delta T is the change in temperature. Clear for you? So you know the number of moles can be represented as how? Mu is equal to small m by capital M, where you have studied in chemistry, where small m is the mass of the substance and capital M is the molecular mass. Isn't it? So mu is equal to small m by capital M. You can substitute in this expression. How can you write S? So we have the expression C is equal to delta Q by mu into delta T. Also mu equal to small m by capital M. If you are substituting here, this expression is delta Q divided by delta T, then mu is small m by capital M. So it will go there, m into delta Q by m into delta T. Okay. Now what is this delta Q by m into delta T? We have studied before. Delta Q by m into delta T is the specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity represented by the letter small s. Isn't it? So delta Q by m into delta T is specific heat capacity represented by small s. So you can write here capital M into S. That is the relation between the specific heat and molar specific heat capacity. Specific heat and molar specific heat capacity. That is C is equal to M into S. Okay, C equals M into S. Now there are two types of molar specific heat capacity, which is important. So molar specific heat capacity means it is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a substance by unity. And there are two types of molar specific heat capacity. The first one is molar specific heat capacity at constant pressure. Molar specific heat capacity at constant pressure. So as the name says, it is the molar heat capacity of a gas at constant pressure. That is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a gas. Same definition only, okay. Only one change, that is to add the term constant pressure. So 1 mole of a gas by unity at constant pressure. The pressure must be constant while we are supplying the heat in order to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a gas. And it is represented as Cp. Okay, C is used to represent molar specific heat capacity. Since it is at constant pressure, you will use Cp. Similarly, the second type is molar specific heat capacity at constant oleum. At constant oleum, which is represented as Cv. Okay, Cv. So again, it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a gas by unity at constant volume. Understood? The amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a gas through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, okay, at constant volume. Clear? So these are the 2 types of molar specific heat capacity. Okay. Now we will check another term, that is calorimetry. So calorimetry is the branch of science that deals with the measurement of heat. Okay. Calorimetry is the branch of science that deals with the measurement of heat. Suppose we have 2 bodies like A and B. Okay. Now listen, this body is kept at a lower temperature and the body B is kept at a higher temperature. Okay. So when this is at higher temperature and this is lower temperature. So when these 2 bodies are kept in contact, what will happen? The body with higher temperature, it will try to make the heat flow from the body to the temperature, the body having lower temperature. That means when 2 bodies of different temperatures come in close contact, the body having higher temperature, from that body the heat flows to the lower temperature until both bodies acquire the same temperature. Understood? So the heat flows from B to A until this B and A are having the same temperature. Clear for you? Thus the principle of calorimetry states that the total heat given by the hotter body equals to the total heat received by the colder body. Understood? The total heat rejected or lost by the hot body is equal to the total heat gained by colder body. So that can be stated as a principle of calorimetry. That is, heat lost by the hotter body is equal to heat gained by colder body. Okay, now we have just seen the expression for the heat, that is the heat capacity, the specific heat capacity, which is given by small s is equal to delta Q by m into delta T, isn't it? From this, what is delta Q? Delta Q equal to ms delta T, ms delta T. So if there are 2 bodies, like the first one has a mass of m1 and second one has a mass of m2, and they are having specific heats also. That is, this body is having S1 value, this body is having S2 value. Then for the temperature change delta T, I can say that the heat which is lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the colder body. So for this particular body, I can write the expression for heat as M1 S1 delta T, and here it is M2 S2 delta T, isn't it? According to the principle of calorimetry, this must be equal because heat gained, this is the expression for heat, and heat gained by the hotter body is equal to heat lost by the hotter body. Heat gained by colder body is equal to heat lost by the hotter body. Clear? So this is called calorimetry, principle of calorimetry. It's a branch of science that deals with the measurement of heat, and this is the principle of calorimetry. Clear for you? Now the device used for measuring the quantities of heat is known as calorimeter. You may have studied this. Calorimeter. Calorimeter is the device used for measuring the quantities of heat. Okay. So this is the construction for a calorimeter. It consists of a cylindrical vessel. Okay. Cylindrical vessel of copper provided with a stirrer. This is the stirrer. Okay. Now this vessel is kept in a wooden jacket. This structure. This cylindrical vessel is kept in a wooden jacket. Now you can see the space between the wooden jacket and the cylinder is packed with a heat insulating material like glass, wool, etc. Clear? Now the calorimeter gets thermally isolated from the surroundings. The loss of heat due to radiation is further reduced, or it can be reduced by polishing the outer surface of the calorimeter and the inner surface of the jacket. Understood? So thus you can thermally isolate it from the surroundings. Once again, a cylindrical vessel, it's a copper vessel. It is provided with a stirrer here. Okay. Now the vessel is kept inside a wooden jacket. The space between the calorimeter and the jacket is packed with a heat insulating material. Clear? It can be glass, wool, etc. Then the calorimeter gets thermally isolated from the surroundings. The loss of heat due to radiation can be reduced by polishing the outer surface of the calorimeter and the inner surface of the jacket. Thus it can be isolated. Now this is the lid. The lid is provided with holes for inserting a thermometer and a stirrer into the calorimeter. Okay. So when bodies at different temperatures are mixed together in the calorimeter, heat is exchanged between the bodies as well as with the calorimeter. If there is no loss of heat to the surroundings, because it is thermally isolated, so there is no loss of heat, then according to principle of calorimetry, heat gained by the cold bodies is equal to heat lost by the cold bodies. Understood? So in such a way, we can use this device for measuring the quantities of heat. Clear for you? So just go through this. Calorimetry means branch of science that deals with the measurement of heat. Calorimeter is the device used to measure the quantity of heat. Okay. In this structure, this is the calorimeter and it is thermally isolated with the help of heat insulating materials like glass, wool, etc. Also, we can polish the sides of the wooden jacket as well as the outer side of the calorimeter. Now when different temperatures come there, mixed together in the calorimeter, according to the principle of calorimetry, heat is exchanged between the bodies as well as with the calorimeter. Okay, so heat will be moving to the colder body as well as the heat will be lost in a hot body. With that, what is the amount gained by cold bodies must be equal to the amount lost by the hot bodies. In such a way, it can be equated and calculate the value of heat. Okay for you? So that's all for today. Study the topics clearly so that we can move to the next one in the next class. Thank you.